Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, as always, Darren Campbell. And joining me to do a weekend wrap-up of sports as usual is Jason Cameron. Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing great, doing good. It's good Sunday so far. A lot of sports going on.
Yeah. So how was your week off?
Week off was great. Like I was just able to relax, regenerate, sleep in, most importantly. Just sleep. Sleep has been a very great blessing for me as of late. So it's been good. And also watch some sports, which has been great.
Yeah, well, March Madness is back. We've got some really interesting stories now that the NBA trade deadline happened on Thursday. So we got some stuff to cover there. And then we've got the UFC 260. They were finally going to crown the baddest man on the planet for 2021. Stipe Miocic went into this one as the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. Had a rematch against Francis Ngannou, and we heard and knew heavyweight champion of the world. Most people were thinking Stipe was going to take this fight. Most people thought he would be able to take Ngannou down again, be able to get the grounded pound and be able to take him out. But Francis definitely has evolved his game from that loss a couple of years ago, I guess 2018, but not quite 3 years ago. He's been able to get great takedown defense, and that power just is unstoppable. And now he's the heavyweight champion of the world. What were your thoughts?
I thought, wow, I was super impressed with their plan of attack for Ngannou's camp. Like I was super impressed with that. I was just impressed with the development of where he's come from to where he is now. Because his takedown defense was it was in epic form. And also too, just his grappling transitions, the way he smothered the ground attack when Stipe tried to shoot for a single leg. It was just awesome stuff to see. And he took his time. He didn't rush anything. He absolutely didn't rush anything. He took his time and he just said, I'm actually the bigger, stronger dude in here. So I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna be bigger and stronger than you. And when I hit you, you're gonna feel everything. But I do give credit to Stipe. The man is tough. There is not many people on the planet that can take that many shots from that dude. So I give credit to Stipe for just hanging in there with all those tough shots. But eventually Ngannou got him. It was just a matter of time. And the biggest thing for me was that he took his time. He let the fight come to him, and he didn't rush anything. He got the knockout win.
Yeah, Ngannou, he's been impressive leading up to this fight, had some really quick knockouts, but I was really unimpressed with his accuracy. The way he throws shots, they're so sloppy. He just wings them and just keeps trying and finally eventually hit the guy. I thought that would really harm him if he fought that way, but he seemed to fight within himself. He seemed to fight calmly. Even when he got Stipe in trouble, he didn't really go crazy and just started throwing crazy amount of shots. And from everywhere, he really just stepped back and waited. He threw some leg kicks, which was smart. I don't know if there was anything that Stipe could have done different to get a better result. It just seemed like Ngannou, it's his time. He's the greatest right now. Stipe has to step aside. Do you think Stipe deserves a rematch so they can have this trilogy and give him a shot at it again, or was it just too one-sided to replay that again?
I kind of think a little too one-sided to replay it again. My initial thought was, okay, that was pretty definitive. That was a win that just kind of that should shut down any talk of does he have a chance again? Because all Ngannou kind of has to do is just do the same thing he did in this fight. Because like you said, I don't know what Stipe could have done to change the outcome of that fight. I really don't know what he could have done differently. Because or thing that he could have done differently, possibly, was come in heavier. Because he came in at 234 where he could have come in at maybe 255, and Ngannou, you could tell, was by far the bigger human being in that fight, like by far. So that's the only thing that I could think that could maybe have changed his fortunes in the octagon that night. But even that, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised. He came in actually 12 pounds lighter than their first battle. I thought when I saw the weight weigh in and I saw what his weight was, I thought they were trying to utilize that as a speed factor, be able to get him in on the takedowns quicker. I think that he probably could have attempted some takedowns maybe a bit sooner and tried to work it, but he really took a lot of punishment when that takedown didn't happen for him. Ngannou really almost finished the fight right then and there.
Yeah, he did. He took a ton of punishment right there for that attempted takedown. But it also just showed his development and Ngannou's development to this point where he was able to successfully stuff that, and then that turned that into a positive for him in the fight with the amount of strikes he had off of that grappling exchange.
So there's 3 African champions now in the UFC, unprecedented, history making, really great for that whole continent, great for Africans around the world. There was a lot of celebrations happening. Did you see some of those?
No, I missed that. I missed that.
Okay. Well, let's watch the celebration that happened in his home country, hometown, Cameroon. It seemed like quite the party. It was, I believe they said it was 4:15 in the morning when it started. So crazy that this many people were out watching it, but pretty cool. Let's check it out.
Vas-y, petit frère. Vas-y.
That was pretty wild. Hey, that was that, you know, to get that many people out in the middle of the night like that. And you know, I didn't actually know how big UFC was around there in certain parts, but man, that was an incredible celebration. It gave me goosebumps to see that many people having fun watching that knockout.
Yeah, it gave me some goosebumps too, because it's kind of nice to see that, to see like people cheering again. so that was awesome, and it's eye-opening for us when you see people that are coming from different parts of the world, and then you see kind of just how big of a celebrity that they actually are amongst their own, and you're like, whoa, okay, this is real. This is for real. But all the best for Ngannou, man, because he's gonna have a bright future. And now we're looking at who he's fighting next. Yeah.
Well, is it a foregone conclusion that the UFC has to make it Jon Jones?
I think it is. I think Dana's already even said it. I thought he said something about it, alluded to it, at least in the post-fight conference and stuff. So I think it is Jon Jones. But I love what DC had to say with that fight coming up. He goes, "Well, there you go, Jon. Good luck with that." And he's absolutely right. Like, the guy, that's a monster. You're coming up and you're fighting a monster, a real monster, like a kaiju. You know what I mean? Like a monster. I don't know.
We just saw it a couple of weeks ago with Adesanya. He thought he was the king and, could beat everybody, decided to move up to light heavyweight and got, knocked out by the champion. And Jan Blachowicz just showed him that, hey, it's not easy stepping up in weight like this. And we were talking about you and I, because it was a 20-pound step up in weight, but this is, talking about a 30, 40-pound step up in weight for a guy like Jon Jones, and having to face this guy. I don't know if Jones can do it, just coming from light heavyweight, facing these guys and coming up this much in weight and having to fight a guy like Ngannou, who has the speed, has the size, has the takedown defense, has really the total package. I don't know if Jones can be successful coming up in weight and fighting him for the first time at that at that size, at that weight. It seems unrealistic to me.
It seems very unrealistic, because it shouldn't be possible. Like, seriously, you're gonna fight the dude that punches the hardest in the division right off the bat. Awesome. and on top of that, you've never really, I'm sure you've done it in training and stuff, but you've never been in the octagon against a true heavyweight before. You don't, like, that's a different sort of power altogether, I would imagine. That's a different sort of everything altogether when it comes to power.
Yeah, everything.
So I gotta say, this is gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
I have a bit of a tweet chain that of Jon Jones that I want to share. I think, I might as well just share it right away. And then I do want to discuss the possibility of Jones and Ngannou fighting in Africa, making it the first UFC in Africa. Right behind me, I've got the fight poster from George Foreman, Muhammad Ali, 1974 Zaire, the Rumble in the Jungle. I've got amazing statistics about that fight and how it was a global event. I think the UFC would be wrong in not pursuing this as a possibility and making it happen in Africa. I think it would be probably the biggest sporting event we've ever witnessed.
I think it has the potential to be huge. I think it would have the potential to be absolutely freaking huge. And especially if they market it like that and they draw the parallels all the time, it'd be massive. It'd be massive. I love it.
Massive, yeah. I just thought of it last night. I thought, man, we've got 3 African champions. We've got the heavyweight, which is, the baddest man on the planet. The parallels that happened back in the day when Muhammad Ali was going through his struggles with the US government, and suddenly they decided to go to Africa and make it happen. And he was able to use the rope-a-dope and beat Foreman, who was considered unbeatable at the time. And, it made his name in history even stronger. It became a global thing. It just was amazing. And I looked at statistics over it this weekend and I just couldn't believe how many people watched it, how much money they made, all the things that went down. And boxing has taken a step back now to the UFC, and the UFC is the biggest combat sport in the world, I think. And for them to go to Africa for the first UFC event, it could be just epic. It could be just incredible.
We should be a part of UFC's marketing team, man. Because that will work. I'm sure Data's already talking about it, because when Kamaru Usman yells it out to the ring, he's like, "We got 3 now. We got 3." And it's so Data must be thinking, man, we haven't fought out there yet in Africa. A lot of money to be made.
Yeah.
Lots.
Okay, one quick pause. I'm watching the NCAA March Madness. This is UCLA, Alabama. UCLA is an 11th seed against Alabama, 2nd seed. This is the Sweet 16. Whoever wins this goes into the Elite 8. We're down to 8 seconds left, and UCLA has a 1-point lead over Alabama. And it looks like Alabama's heading to the free throw line. Yeah, they are. So 6.8 seconds left. Let's watch this for a second, Jason.
And
hey, this could be the biggest upset at this level.
No!
He missed the first free throw. Wow.
Misses. You better hit this one.
You and I talked about the Pac-12 being a really great conference this year and having so much success. Gonzaga won big time earlier and advanced. Oh, he missed both.
Missed them both. He missed them both.
Missed them both.
Oh,
Unreal.
Is
Wow.
that looked like Mike Fratello that was in the stands. Is that the Czar? Is that the Czar?
I don't think so. Might have. Maybe, I don't think so. But
Oh, okay. 'Cause I was like, what is he doing? What's he doing over there? Oh, anyways, man, but look at this.
can't believe he missed both. Wow.
That's gotta
The
be
pressure
devastating.
got to him.
Yeah. See, look at that. Doesn't
I
that
don't
lose
think that's Fratello. He's too old to be Fratello. Too old and bald. So he was wearing UCLA colors. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
64-62, 4.2 left.
Yeah. Oh man. Wow.
I was happy that you were going to get a chance to see some March Madness after you were working so much last week. But this is and you had your birthday last weekend that interrupted some watching. But 65-62, 4.2 left. Oh, they're taking up time out. Okay, we'll get back to it in a second. Okay, let me share a little bit of Jon Jones tweets. He immediately got on Twitter and started throwing some stuff out there, but there's been some pushback by the UFC because he's like, show me the money. And you know, they're a little reluctant to do that at times. So let's see.
What is this?
Okay, so let's get into some of the first ones. So Bones says, is this fight worth Deontay Wilder money? That's the big question. Do I need a last name like McGregor to make at least half of that? Am I really the bad guy? Is there a bigger issue here? Somebody called my bluff. I'm not playing games. It's obvious what I want. And then he said, when have I ever sat there and boxed with a slugger? Never. Haters want to see me lose so bad. Give me some coin. Put your money where your mouth is.
Okay.
He put in, it's okay. Derek can have the fight. No need to rush a great thing. I've already had a Hall of Fame career, but I'm going to need some bread.
Wow.
Oh, okay. We're down to the last second shot.
Oh,
he hit it. High game going to overtime. Wow. That was deep. That was a deep three. Wow.
Oh no.
Wow, that was amazing.
This is the first game in the Sweet 16 to go to overtime, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Jesus, that was awesome.
He just
give it up.
Yeah, he was deep. He was a good
boom. And it's good.
Wow.
Ice water in his veins. Ice water in his veins.
Wow, that was awesome. Wow, that was really impressive.
That was good.
So yeah, he just keeps tweeting on and on and on and on. Let's not forget Stipe lost to DC. Stipe only defended his belt like 5 times to my 15. The man showed up at 2:30 to fight against Francis. He's no Jon Jones. I want this fight. Excited to see what the UFC thinks it's worth. And then he goes on and on. I can't share all the tweets, but it was just on and on and on and on and on. And I do worry that the UFC will get angry at him. They will try to set an example. They'll be like, no, he's the champ. You're coming up. You're the challenger. You don't get to stipulate what you want. We tell you that you're taking this money. And him and his camp will be like, no. Why would we put our whole career and reputation on the line for only a couple million? Especially if they can have a massive gate and they can put it somewhere, where they're going to have fans. They're already talking next UFC pay-per-view is in front of 15,000 fans in Jacksonville. Supposedly the next one is in Texas. That's going to have fans in the stands. So, they're able to get the revenue from there. Do you think Jones, might not go for it because of the, probably a low ball offer by the UFC?
Well, first off, it's always going to be a low ball offer from the UFC. That's kind of what they do. unless your name's McGregor. That's not Bones' last name. Bones' last name is not McGregor. So, yeah, of course they're going to lowball him. It's just to like what I'm thinking of is just how low are they going to go? Like, how much are they going to insult? I guess that's what I'm really saying. How much are they going to insult? And then, but whatever insult that he thinks is perceived to him, you could say it would be doubly so for Ngannou, who's now the champ, right? So it's like whatever you pay him, well, you got to pay Ngannou that. So whatever, right? Because it's like if I'm Ngannou, I'm like he's coming up like, nah, man, I don't make less. I am a champion, right? Like, yes, I know he's the 15-time champion, but it doesn't matter anymore. It's a wash. I'm a champion. And I'm pretty sure I have the power to knock anybody else out on the planet. Like on the planet. On the entire globe, I can do that. So, you know, like I'm interested to see how Dana White does approach this one. Does he kind of go off and go all Dana White? Or does he actually just try to handle this behind closed doors and not say anything about it, which he's done that before too. So it'll be interesting to see which way he goes.
Sure will be interesting, yeah. I was talking about the Rumble in the Jungle, happened October 30th, 74. George Foreman, the undefeated champion at the time, facing off against Muhammad Ali. 60,000 people in the stadium. They called it the greatest sporting event of the 20th century. There was 1 billion viewers worldwide. And at the time, there was only 4 billion people on the planet. So 25% of the planet was watching this fight. They did a pay-per-view of 50 million people. These days, the UFC is absolutely blown away when they get 1 million viewers pay-per-view. 50 million people in 1974 watched it. They grossed $100 million. It would be in dollars today, $500 million of that. And they paid Foreman and Ali both $5 million apiece. I just see so much of it, like so much. This is a once in a lifetime chance to have the fight of the century. They had that one, you know, in that century. Make it happen now. It could make the UFC globally bigger than they ever have been.
Yeah, it's a potential. It's a time. But you know what? At the same time, I love the idea, and I think that obviously the idea would work. But at the same time, I guess it has to work for both fighters. And then also too, unfortunately, with the background that we're all living under right now too, like maybe it actually is better to wait for this fight to happen. Like maybe not this year, but next year or something like that, or a year and a half or so. But the fight happens, right? But the fight does happen. So I don't know, but here's the thing that I'm certain of. I'm absolutely certain of. Jon Jones is going to get a low ball offer. He's not going to like it. And it's going to be a negotiation thing going back and forth. Now, would they be able to make it happen? Maybe. But I guess it's all on the UFC if they want to make it happen. It really is.
So in Ngannou's corner was Kamaru Usman. I thought that was pretty cool that he came in there. He actually, Ngannou mentioned Usman and said that he was constantly in his face the whole entire week. Keep calm, slow your breathing, calm down. You're going to win this. You just have to be calm. And as you said off the top, Ngannou has never been like that. We've never seen him fight so calmly. It was a really smart move on his part, and great to see Usman there, lending his knowledge and his ability. He got the belt, and he's been able to retain it and have a fight off the challengers. It was pretty cool to see them come together and make this happen.
Oh yeah, no, it was very cool because there was that point in Usman's last title defense where you could see him kind of calm it down and slow himself down for a second, and then all of a sudden he took over the fight. Like he literally did. It was almost like he had that stillness or that peace of mind, so to speak, that sometimes you can have in a fight, and then all of a sudden he just took him apart. But with Ngannou in this particular fight, he always had that, and then that's why he was able to, as Miocic lunged for that punch, just to step back a tad off to his left and crack him with the left. And then it was literally over after that. Like, it was like, oh, okay, that's it. Oh, sorry, followed by the huge hammer fist from God. And then that was kind of unneeded. It was a cut out, but whatever.
Herb Dean couldn't get there fast enough, but
No.
yeah. So we've got an African heavyweight champion, we've got an African welterweight champion, and we've got an African middleweight champion. Usman and Adesanya from Nigeria, and Ngannou from Cameroon. I really loved what Joe Rogan was saying, promoting his last interview with Ngannou, talking about his life story. I really recommend everybody, viewers and listeners, go to Joe Rogan's podcast and find an amazing story of trying to get out of Cameroon, get to somewhere safer in his life. An amazing life story. I love that, there is some unity with these guys, and they are, wanting to have these African champions. I want to show our viewers and listeners Israel Adesanya's watch party and the reaction that happened there when Ngannou took this victory. It's pretty special. This shows a nice picture of the three guys with the belts, and this is the party.
Freaking out.
That was awesome. Hey, holy, yeah, that one gave me goosebumps too. They were celebrating, they were partying big time. It was fun.
Yeah, man, they were freaking out. They were really freaking out right there. It was awesome, man. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome to see these guys actually support each other in their endeavors. It's pretty cool.
I love it. I really love it. And yeah, it was a historic night for the UFC. Stipe Miocic still is considered the greatest heavyweight of all time for his illustrious career. But now we're in the age of Ngannou. We've talked about the possibility of a trilogy, probably not happening with Stipe at this point. Jones is the fight to make. Hopefully they can make it. There was also talk about Derek Lewis, but do you remember the last time that Ngannou and Lewis fought? It was probably the worst heavyweight fight I've ever seen in my life. There was 31 punches landed in the entire 3-round, 15 minutes of the fight. It was terrible. It was so brutal that it better not happen. I don't want to see those guys fight again.
Yeah, I think that's why they're not in a hurry to make that fight, because they remember that. And also, too, I kind of understand why none of those guys really did anything, because they both know I can shut your lights out at any moment. You can shut my lights out at any moment. That's why all of a sudden nothing happened.
They were both fighting so cautiously. It was unreal. So, yeah, I guess it was kind of cool to see another Cameroon athlete also send out some tweets. Joel Embiid was seen in some of the Twitter feeds, and yeah, really epically cool night. I was shocked. I really actually thought that Stipe would win, but the Predator is just too tough, too amazing. He really just dominated, and those big bombs of his, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to handle them. I think he could be a champion for a while, and but Jon Jones, yeah, let's see if he can pull it off. It would be pretty incredible. The co-main event was something that I wasn't looking forward to. Obviously, the Alex Volkanovski title fight was supposed to happen. COVID ruined that. He was supposed to fight T-City Brian Ortega. And so the co-main event became Vincent Luque against Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley didn't show up for his 3 fights previous to this battle, and I just thought to myself, no, he doesn't deserve my attention anymore. He has really upset me. He has definitely disappointed everybody in the world with the efforts that he put forward. So I decided, no, I'm not going to pay attention to this fight. I'm just not going to. He doesn't deserve my attention. And he came out different than he had for those 3 fights. I decided to watch the highlights and watch the replay of it later. And he made a mistake, I think. He should have fought cautiously, but not as cautious as he had for those 3 previous losses. But yeah, he was suddenly in a brutal war with this silent assassin and got himself into a situation where he had to tap out or he was going to sleep. And I think with these 4 losses, I just think it's time for him to step away and end the career. Yeah, what were your thoughts? I couldn't watch it live, but I'm sure you did.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did watch it live. And this is what I'm going to say about it. He went for it. Yeah. I kind of liked it. I'm like,
yeah. Gotta give him props for doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, like he threw caution to the wind and said, I'm just going to throw bombs. You know, people think my style is not good anymore. It's not. I'll show you. I'll show you that I can still fight exciting fights. That's kind of what he was literally kind of like with his body posturing and everything, and just the way that he fought. He was kind of screaming that at everybody. I'm going to show you I can be exciting. Well, he was exciting for all the wrong reasons, but yes, he was exciting. That's for sure. Because in that's one of the craziest firsts I can remember seeing for a fight. He hit Luque in the back of the ear, shook his equilibrium. So you see Luque just do the jig. It's like, and then I was like, oh my goodness, is he gonna win? And then Luque cracks him back, and then that just from that punch changed the whole tone of the fight, and that punch is what got him to win. Because all of a sudden he was on skates and he could not collect himself. He could never collect himself after getting cracked that hard. And that was it.
Yeah. No, his legs were going. He used the cage to hold himself up at times, and yeah, he just didn't have legs anymore. And Luque went in for the kill, and was able to give him that choke, and yeah, it was impressive. That Sanford MMA, I'm really super impressed with the guys coming out of that camp in the last little while. Henry Hooft. We saw Gilbert Burns in his corner. There's been so many good fighters coming out of the camp and having success lately. It's just a machine that's just churning out top level talent.
Oh yeah, and Luque is no joke. I can't tell you how many of these wars he's actually been in, and he's come out on top. He comes out on top of these things. It's like, I loved what Woodley thought, his thought pattern of, I'm just going to take it to this dude. But probably not with that guy. That's probably the wrong guy that you try to take it to. Right? Because for whatever reason, he comes out of these fights and he comes out better. Always comes out better than he ever has. It's amazing to me. And so props to Luque, man. Like that was a great fight. Like if that's Woodley's last fight, at least he went out on his sword and he went out good.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, he, I was surprised. I hadn't seen him, fight that way in a real long time, and I'm impressed. I think he should be happy that he gave it his all. He didn't just fight super cautiously and not give his best effort. He had Luque hurt. He just needed to land a couple more shots right then and there, and he might have been able to take it, but wasn't able to. Luque comes back and gets a huge victory. Luque called out Nate Diaz, which will be a hell of a fight. Incredible battle if they can put that together. There was also talk today that Michael Chiesa is potentially, in the mix for him. They might be able to move up these ranks and get themselves a title shot if they can get some wins. So yeah, whoever they put in there with Luke, I'd be, I'd pay to see for sure.
Oh yeah, man. I love the way that Luke fights, and I can't wait to see who they put him in against next. But if it's Nate, you know what the UFC has to do? You got to pay him.
Exactly. Yeah. And they don't like doing that too much, but yeah, I'd love to see Nate Diaz back and fighting a guy like that, a top 10 talent. So it'd be fun. Sugar Sean O'Malley made an appearance again, off a loss, off his first loss, came in and had a couple of walk-off knockouts in this one. He likes putting on a show. He said after Joe, he said, "Hey, I only really get about 15 minutes, maybe once or twice a year to, get viral, blow up, show everybody what I'm up to. And I really wanted that walk-off KO. I ended up having to do it a couple rounds later, but yeah, he's exciting. He's, so tall, accurate with his strikes, deadly. So many incredible fights I've seen him in the last couple of years here. He made a really a lot of people impressed again.
Yeah, yes. But the thing is, unfortunately, with O'Malley, his question mark's always been his durability of the fight, because like there's been a number of fights where he's left the octagon with some sort of weird or strange like injury, usually to his legs, and so that's why people think that he has a weakness if you kick him to the legs. Well, he got kicked to the legs a lot by Almeida, a lot of power kicks. Didn't really help him too much, but like he just his creativeness in the octagon, his diversity of strikes is just it's a cut above. It really is when you're talking about O'Malley. And he was able to not almost take him out, I believe in the first. And because he didn't follow it up, and then he kind of got tore apart by DC saying, "Oh, well, you got to do this, you got to do that." But I love the fact that O'Malley was just like, he was unfazed by that. He was actually unfazed. He just continued doing his work and putting in his work and doing his thing. And then in the third, knocked him down again. But this time, he tried to do the walk-off again, which I was more impressed by. I was just like, oh, he didn't even learn from the first time. No, he didn't even learn his lessons. And then now here's the funny thing. The ref let him go, and he saunters over like he's going for a coffee and just winds up in a huge haymaker. And so for me, I'm like, no, he actually did the right thing. The guy didn't even react when he just walked over him and punched him in the face. That means he was out.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah. It was. Yeah, I mean, I think all of that, those, it will make the highlight reel. They'll be, played on all social media channels, and he still made it look like you say, like he was just sauntering over to grab something and just ended the fight right there. Boom. Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
I'll just give an update. UCLA is going to defeat Alabama and make it into the Elite Eight as an 11th seed. Alabama number 2. They outscored them 17-6 in overtime. 10 seconds left. There's no possible way Alabama's coming back. So UCLA advances. Amazing. We see some tears from the Alabama faithful, and huge upset there, and another Pac-12 team is moving on.
Yeah, man. The Bruins got it done against the top seed like that, but the Bruins were shooting well early from 3-point line, so they were able just to stay with it, cope with it, and then they even survived the overtime to get the win.
Just following this game, Oregon and USC are facing each other. So 2 Pac-12 teams, one will get eliminated, one will move forward. March Madness has been awesome. We're going to touch on basketball a little bit later. Raptors played today and that kind of thing. But let's talk about a couple of the other fights on the card. We're not going to be able to probably break down every fight, but who do you want to talk about next? I kind of would like to talk about Malarkey.
Yes.
Worthy. How did you see that one?
Ah, man, Malarkey. that super impressed with Malarkey. His stand-up it's gotten much better from his last fight. Like much better. Caught him coming in the first with the left hook, and no, didn't catch him coming in. He followed the left hook. Like as Worthy was backing up, he followed him with the left hook, and it was perfect because Worthy thought he had the distance to escape the punch, but he did not. And then he did the leg thing, and then it was over. Wow. But it was a perfect punch. Caught him right at the tip of the chin, man. Right at the tip of the chin. Perfect punch.
Yeah, unreal. 46 seconds in, and just bam! What a left hook. Just really, like Worthy just had no legs left. Bam, onto the ground. And Malarkey, tough Australian. He also fights out of that city kickboxing in New Zealand, and the Death Star just crumbled. It was a really super impressive win by Malarkey, and I thought he was going to have tons of trouble against Worthy, but no, he was able to take him out quick.
Yeah, I thought that Worthy would be a very, very tough fight for Malarkey. I thought it'd be a tough fight for both those guys. But Malarkey made quick, unexpected work of Worthy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was the main card. Why don't we touch on the preliminary card a little bit? The featured bout on the prelims was Alonzo Menafield fighting Fabio Cherant. Cherant is called the Water Buffalo. Really tough guy from New England. He missed weight only by half a pound, but he missed weight. So 20% of the purse was going to Menafield. Menafield came in off a couple of losses, and so people started doubting him a little bit. Atomic really showed his toughness and was able to get an amazing choke up against the cage there, and get the victory really quick. Just over a minute into the first round, he was able to get that Von Flue choke or the OSP choke and get the victory.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, that dude looks like scary because obviously, clearly, he's a former football player. Look at the body. The body is ridiculous. So when you go into the octagon facing that guy, you got to know he's stronger than me. He's way stronger than me. And then hopefully you got to keep your distance away from that power. But unfortunately, Cherant was unable to avoid it. And then when he pressed him up against the cage, great wrestling, great use of like taking away his base, shucking out his hips away from him, and then setting up the OSP choke. Because in his own words, he was like, I was surprised he did not let go of the guillotine choke. So I just used his arm to accentuate the OSP choke. And then that was it. That was all she wrote. You have that much power crushing into your carotid artery. Yeah, you're gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, Cherant made a big mistake not letting go of the guillotine. Both DC and Joe were saying, "Whoa, what is he doing? He's got to let go of that, or he's in trouble." And he's only one of four guys to be able to submit somebody with that Von Flue choke, and it was very impressive. Just crushed him. Just the power and the size of him, his lats, his bicep crushing in. Yeah, there was no way Cherant was able to finish that. I loved his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan. He was dedicating to his wife and his brother. He said, "Nobody's ever treated me better than my wife, even my own mom. And I'm dedicating this to my brother too, who just got out of the joint." And then Joe said, "Yeah, I think everybody will be happy of your shout outs except your mom." And he goes, "Well, it's the truth. That's the way it goes." And so it was kind of cool that he was able to call out the people that have helped him get there. He's a father of three and seems like a nice guy. I was really super impressed with everything that he put together. He came in from the Dana White Contender Series and came in with so much potential, had a couple losses, but able to really turn his career around with that huge win yesterday.
Yeah, he was able to turn it around and as quickly as that. And you know what? The UFC's shark-infested waters, man. You're going up against the best. So even if you have a couple of losses against you, you should never be deterred because, well, you're fighting against the best of the best. And that's inevitably going to happen unless you're something special. So, good. It's great to see Alonzo get a win.
The fight, the welterweight fight between Abubakar Nurmagomedov and Jared Gordon, just a grind out battle, classic striker versus grappler matchup. Nurmagomedov, proved his superiority. He was a bit surprised. I was a bit surprised, and I think a lot of people were, that he was dominant both on the ground and on the feet. He really just showed that he's superior. And, those Dagestani guys are typically just going to get you down, grapple you to death. But he was better in all areas of the fight.
Yeah, he was. And I think that's what surprised Gooden, is that he was better as a striker, but he was better than him as a striker. And he was taking advantage of that. And his hands were quicker than what he thought they would be. And I think that really threw off his game plan and what he wanted to do. And so then when Nurmagomedov took him down in the third, that was just icing on the cake. That really was, because I don't believe that Gooden had won any of the previous 2 rounds because he'd just been outstruck on his feet. So it was a dominant win by Nurmagomedov. And he showed that he's not just a wrestler. He can strike.
Oh, yeah, he sure can. And great to see Khabib in there in the corner. He's, I think, going to, be one of the best coaches in history, and to get his cousin help his cousin get a big victory. It was good to see. The night train was stopped, and Nurmagomedov moves on. He's going to be trouble for many of the welterweights in that division. Okay, we can talk a little bit about Bukauskas and Alexei. I know I have some troubles saying his name. Alexei, I think they pronounced it a bit the other night. Tough name to say, the Polish guy. What do you think of this one? 2 really, really tough guys. It was quite the battle.
It was quite the battle. It was quite back and forth. Like, it was clear to me that Bukauskas was trying to keep distance with his kicks, whereas I'm just gonna say Alexei. Sorry, I didn't say the rest of your name. Anyways, Alexei was using more of his boxing and superior head movement. His head movement was really on point for this fight. And so the difference in this fight, and the reason why Alexei won a split decision win, was because of his constant pressure. His forward pressure is actually what won him the fight. Was the fact that he looked like the aggressor and tried to hunt the young man down the entire fight. But when Bukauskas decided to do his counters and throw, they were crisp, they were destructive, and they were great counters, man. So this was a very close fight. I wouldn't have been surprised if Bukauskas had won the fight too. I thought it could have gone either way. That's how close I thought this fight was.
As you said, split decision. Bukauskas actually outstruck him, significant strikes, 54-41. But he was backing up the whole entire fight. Really good movement with Alexejek. He was able to, really keep moving and keep pressing the action. I thought, he took the fight to him, but yeah, it definitely could have went either way. You're right. Bukauskas had the 4-inch reach advantage, and he was utilizing it early on. But the Polish fighter Mikhail just continued to press the action and get the victory. And it was a tough battle, good fight. I was impressed by it. Okay, there's 2 fights to go. Shane Young, Omar Morales, New Zealand against Venezuela. What do you think about this one? Another New Zealand fighter from that city kickboxing. He was the underdog coming in. Shane Young, Omar Morales, tough Venezuelan fighter, and he was able to get the victory.
Yeah, Morales looked good, but Young looked really good too. Like he looked really good. He was able to check. One of the hardest things I think to do right now in mixed martial arts is to check calf kicks. And Young was checking those calf kicks really well until finally Morales started breaking through, I think, at the end of the second into the beginning of the third. And then once his calf kicks started getting through, that's when I noticed that his offense was definitely beginning to pick up, and especially in the third round. So I had it as a very close fight myself, but I think it was unanimous for Morales. But Morales looked good. Like once he was able to finally start picking up his offense, because it seemed like his offense was predicated off his calf kicks, which might be something that he might have to change in the future, because if somebody stymies that, then you have to have something else to go to.
Morales, so that was his first fight at 145. He had fought his entire first 10 fights. First 10 fights were at 155, had moved down, had the first loss, and then he has this victory. So maybe this is his new division. He'll stay at featherweight. Yeah, really tough fight. Very close first 2 rounds. I think Morales was a little bit better maybe in the third, but he did get the unanimous victory. The night was kicked off on the early prelims. It didn't show on the on TV on ESPN Plus, but I wanted to touch on it. Were you able to see this one, the Marc-Andre Barriault fight?
I saw the tail end of it. I saw the tail end where Barriault basically finished him in strikes in the last seconds of the fight, like literally the last seconds of the fight.
Yeah, well, I really like Barriault. He was the former TKO middleweight and light heavyweight champion there. They do show a ton of the TKO fights on the Fight Network locally here in Canada, and I've really liked him for a really long time. He came into the UFC, has had some tough losses, but he really showed some superior fighting in this one. He was able to get the knockout with 4 seconds to go in the third round, but he was definitely just relentless. He was able to mount him on a few occasions and relentlessly going for ground and pound to try to stop the fight. The ref Jaron Villel kept it going, and giving Abu Adzakar every chance that he could, but he wasn't able to get him off of him. And the power bar was able to get his first UFC win. Great to see it. I really like this kid, and I think there's a ton of potential for him. Really happy that he was able to get onto this card and get the big victory.
Well, limited what I saw, it basically just seemed like he wore the man down. And then eventually in the third, when he was able to take him down, he took control of that and just ground and pound finish right at the end of the round too. Like, which is I'm always amazed when a fight is called that close, because it's super close. Like, it just, either the guy makes it out of the round or not, but he'd taken enough damage that the ref said, "Nah, that's enough's enough," and he's done. So great win by Marc-Andre.
Yeah, really great. I thought Azatar might have won the first round. Barriault took the second round with 31-23 advantage in significant strikes. 57-4 were the strikes in round 3. And he just showed incredible cardio. He's got 10 KOs now in his 12 victories. And I think he must have impressed the boss, and he'll get another opportunity very soon, I'm sure. Okay, well, hell of a card. We've got a new heavyweight champion. Lots of fights to make coming off of this one. We've got a 1-week break for the UFC. We haven't had a break for a while, since the beginning of the year. We've got a 1-week break, and then they have on Saturday at the Apex, the main event is Darren Till, Marvin Vettori. What do you think about that battle?
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I really like that. I like that main event. You got 2 of the guys, both of them in the top 10, fighting each other for another crack at that belt. And that's stylistically, that's a very, very interesting fight. I really like that fight. I really do.
I like the matchmakers, what they put together there. Yeah, so there's a lot of good battles on the card. Kyle Dawkins on this card, Smiling Sam Alvey. We've got Nina Asaroff against Mackenzie Dern. Platinum Mike Perry's fighting on the main card. And then the prelims, we've got Jim Miller fighting. We've got 13 battles together. John McDessie, the Canadians, on the card. And then Impa Consagane is there. Jordan Griffin. A lot of good battles. I'm excited for it. But yeah, 1 week hiatus. So we'll have to just talk about some NBA and some NFL next week, and yeah, move away from the fighting for a week. It's sometimes good to get a week break. Yeah, so we won't be talking about the UFC next weekend, but maybe look ahead. Some of these fights in the COVID era have been changed. Sometimes we've got new opponents. Sometimes there's been fights that fall off completely. So we might have to touch base on that. But why don't we just touch base on our partners and sponsors real quick, and then we'll just talk a little bit about the NBA. The NBA trade deadline happened on Thursday. Some big moves were made, and yeah, especially the Raptors trading Norm Powell, who came back to see them 3 days later with the Portland Trailblazers today, and no trade for Kyle Lowry. He remains a Raptor for the immediate future, and yeah, kind of a cool move. I was happy you were home that day. You could sort of consume some of the trade talk, and you and I were texting a little bit that day, so we'll get into it in a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about our partners and sponsors. Anchor has been a great partner and sponsor for Complete Sports Media. They've been fantastic at posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. And they call themselves the easiest place to make a podcast. Just go to anchor.fm, follow the details, and you can create a podcast yourself. Verbero, a hockey equipment and apparel company. They're an industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And the V350 stick is a must purchase if you're a player. Pampas and Possibilities, they design and sell dried florals, do floral arrangements and installations. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company. They grow and manufacture aloe vera-based products for health and beauty. You go to CompleteSportsMedia.com. You can find tons of details. You can find products that you can purchase at reduced rates. And thank you again, as always, to our partners and sponsors. So, okay, as I mentioned just before, the NBA trade deadline was Thursday. There was a few of the top teams making some moves. Why don't we talk a little bit about what the Raptors did and didn't do? Everybody speculated that Kyle Lowry was going to go to one of these top contenders, and I guess the offers weren't to Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri's liking, and they didn't pull off the deal. I'm happy. I like Lowry in Toronto. I think he can do a push, get them into the playoffs at least this year, and still play some more games for Toronto. What were your thoughts when the deadline happened and he wasn't dealt?
Well, my thoughts were like, I think it was hard to move him anyways because of just how much money he was making this year. And then the fact that like, you'd have to make space for him underneath the cap to fit in your $30 million salary. I think that was probably the biggest thing on why he didn't move more than anything else, and why Norm Powell could move, because, you know, he actually had a better contract that you could work with. But at the same time, I believe his contract is ending this year. So if you want to keep that dude, now you got to pay him, you know? So yeah, I think Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster, they obviously liked what they were going to get back for Norm Powell, and they got back a lot, to be honest with you. Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood, those are two really good players for Norm Powell. Those are two very, very good players for Norm Powell. So I think that's a trade that you're happy with. You're definitely happy with that trade.
I was impressed. Yeah, that's a nice haul for Norm Powell. Two great up and coming guys. I think Gary Trent has a ton of potential. Did you know that Gary Trent Sr. also played for the Raptors?
Yes. I know exactly what you're going to say. Yes, because they got traded literally at the same point in their career from Portland to Toronto in their third year, 41 games in.
Yeah, isn't that incredible?
Yes.
Isn't that that's just so unbelievable that that could happen? follow in your father's footsteps, make the NBA, go to the same team, and then third season, 41 games in, you get traded to Toronto Raptors. How does that kind of stuff happen? That's just incredible.
Well, it's almost like it was meant to be, like it was meant to happen. I don't know if it means that he's going to follow his father's career exactly the way his went. I'm sure he's going to have the opportunity to stay in Toronto for a little bit longer, because he's a great player and he's a nice
really
shooter.
great. Yeah, no, really great. So it was a deal between Portland and Toronto. They faced each other 3 days after the deal was consummated. So they got to shake hands with their buddies, say, hey, wow, you're on the other side. Wow, this is crazy. So Gary Trent Jr. today had 28 minutes. He had 6 points and 7 rebounds. And Rodney Hood had 13 points and 2 rebounds in 27 minutes. And Norman Powell had 13 points and 3 rebounds in 27 minutes. Portland was able to outlast the Raptors and get a 122-117 victory. They had, let's see, 7 players in double figures for Portland. Pascal Siakam led the way with 26 points, 8 rebounds, and a couple of assists for Toronto. But they missed Kyle Lowry today. He was nursing a right foot soreness, and he was out. But super happy he's still a Raptor. And once he gets healthy, this team can push for that top 10, maybe get into that play-in game and have an opportunity to at least get some playoff game experience.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something. It's doable. It's doable for the team. And yeah, Kyle Lowry didn't go anywhere, but it's not a detriment to the team, because he's just not a detriment to the team. He's one of the best point guards in the league. And so when he does get healthier, he's definitely going to help the team once he gets back out there on the court.
It's not out of the realm of possibility that they actually sign him to another deal and keep him. They don't want to lose him for nothing, so there is a possibility that he also does a sign and trade deal. So they do sign him and they can make a trade. But I'm happy he's still a Raptor. He's the greatest Raptor of all time, in my opinion. And it's nice to see that. We'll get to see him a little bit longer. He's a big asset. But yeah, it was hard for teams to, fit that $30 million in the cap there. I heard earlier that George Hill had been picked up by the Sixers, so it sort of seemed like Sixers were out of the running. Miami made a deal and got Victor Oladipo, so they seem to be out of the running. And any of the other partners just decided to go in different directions. Rajon Rondo and Lou Williams made a swap there, so playoff Rondo, went to try to bolster that team. There was some pretty interesting trades. Definitely some deals that some of the front runners made.
Yeah. The deal that I like Victor Oladipo going to Miami. Like I really like that one. Like I like the fact that just gives them more diversity with their scoring and stuff. And then it gives a guy in Victor Oladipo who he could go against like the best offensive player on the other team, because his defense is something special. He's good. He's very good on the defensive end. And the other trade I just want to bring up real quick, another one that I really like, because I love the Oladipo trade, and I really like the Aaron Gordon trade. I like the Aaron Gordon trade going from Magic to Denver Nuggets, and the Nuggets got in return Magic got in return RJ Hampton and Gary Harris from the Nuggets. So, and I just really like that trade. I think it frees up everything, and it gives Joker another cutter like that he'll just find with his just exceptional passing. So I really like the trade.
Yeah, no, they also picked up JaVale McGee, and there is a good chance that if LeBron James doesn't play soon, the Lakers will keep losing and they'll fall into that maybe 4th or 5th spot, and they might face Denver right off the hop. So, Denver really wanted to bolster That team, they had a great run in the bubble. Jamal Murray played out of his mind. Jokic is, all-world player. And now they've got that third option that's a really, really strong player. And it was a good move. Yeah, I definitely agree with you that it was hell of a great deal. And on the Eastern Conference side, the deal that came down today made me go, wow, I think I better put some money on the Nets. LaMarcus Aldridge went through the waiver wire. Nobody picked him up. He accepted a buyout from the Spurs, and now he joins the Brooklyn Nets. So can you imagine when Kyrie comes back out of his stuff and KD gets healthy? They've got the possibility of some pretty solid 5 guys to be out on the court together. Wow, it's going to be hard for any team to beat Brooklyn if they can be healthy.
The wealth of riches that Brooklyn is now receiving. And yeah, they're going to be tough. Like LaMarcus Aldridge doesn't even have to be like literally LaMarcus Aldridge. He could be like, I don't know, 30% of LaMarcus Aldridge and be like, oh, okay, this is good enough. This is great. Because unfortunately, he's not at the same level as he once was, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't need to be. Like clearly this team is something special because even with 2 of the guys, 2 out of the 3, they're still crushing teams. One guy has done it too, as well. Brought the team back from like just extraordinary means. And when I say that, I mean James Harden. Because I'm just going to say a quick aside. I heard Charles Barkley, he was talking about James Harden, saying he might be the best player in the NBA and stuff, and he's his MVP. He's been playing really well, all right? Like, and also too with the fact that he was able to change his game into what you see now, where he's a real true point guard. All right. The only thing I don't like is the fact that he quit on his team before. I don't think MVPs do that. I don't think that should be actually in their quote unquote DNA. You don't quit on your team. Sorry. Anyways, that was my side. I just want to say.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you're fully right. And I agree. Yeah. When you put on a fat suit and you force a deal and you quit on your team. Yeah, I think that should put you down at the bottom of the list. Nope, sorry, not MVP this year. You have to get it next year. So I agree. The other deal that just happened was Andre Drummond went to the Lakers. So an amazing rebounder, 4-time NBA rebounding champion, a guy that has an incredible presence in the middle. The Lakers haven't had a rebounder like this since Kareem. I think if both LeBron and AD can get healthy, this is going to be a battle of the Titans. If the Lakers can get out of a tough Western Conference, the Brooklyn can, keep the East at bay. Wow. Like we're in for some titanic battles coming playoff time.
Lakers are big now. They are a big team with Andre Drummond. Like they're freaking huge. So, and it depending on when those guys come back, whatever their timetable is, because it just doesn't seem like it's anytime soon, as it shouldn't be. Both of them actually do have significant injuries, so that they will be brought along very, 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 very slowly. But once all 3 of those dudes can get on the court together, whenever that may be, that's gonna be cool, man. That's gonna be like you said, a battle of the Titans.
Yeah, it's incredible. Anthony Davis has been out since Valentine's Day with a right calf injury. They're definitely keeping him on the shelf and being very, very cautious with him. LeBron James has been out with this high ankle sprain, and the Lakers aren't doing good without him. The only thing about Drummond is he sat out for the last 6 weeks waiting for this move to happen, so he's going to be a bit rusty. They better just ease him in. The only other thing that I noticed when I looked up all the Drummond stuff was he's appeared in only 8 playoff games in his career, and he's 0 for 8. 0 for 8 in 2 appearances. They got swept both times, and he's had a long career, never had a playoff win. So he's not bringing that to the table, but He's a relentless rebounder. He reminds me of a guy like Dennis Rodman that just knows where to be, how to get that ball. And if, as I said, if both those guys can get healthy, to have him as a presence in the middle, getting rebounds, getting steals, blocking shots, things like that, he's going to be a huge, huge, huge asset.
Yeah, that's a big asset. Like that's huge. That's so much bigger. I think that's bigger than when the Nets got Blake Griffin. Like that's actually a big part of your team because he can do some work on the block, on the low post and stuff. Like, because he has his low post moves. He can do that. He kind of reminds me of a little bit of a throwback to a 90s low post player, like when we used to do that, when they used to play down there. But yeah, he's got that game to him. He has that. And like you said, he's a ferocious rebounder. I think he definitely makes that team better. Definitely.
That was a huge move. And I was shocked that he cleared waivers. I would have thought teams would have tried to put a request in for him and try to sign him to a deal. I think he's accepting a very, very low offer from LA. He got paid out of Cleveland, got a buyout. And so, these guys that are getting these buyouts, I guess it doesn't really matter contract wise. You can sign him to a minimum deal. And I don't know why most teams wouldn't want him. He's just, going to be an asset for you. So it was surprising. The rich are getting richer, though, as we see this weekend.
Oh, yeah, man. Like, especially for those that are able to get buyouts and stuff, because then okay, well, this is cool. Like, whatever else I get is just kind of icing because I'm good for the year.
Great game today happened with Phoenix and Charlotte, went to overtime. Phoenix was able to pull out a 101-97 victory. Devin Booker looked amazing today, 35 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. Really incredibly fun game to watch. Hornets are really, great team to watch these days. Devontae Graham led the way with 30 points for them. Terry Rozier had 22 points, 10 rebounds. Hayward was 15 points and Mikal Bridges was 18. And then, why don't we get into a little bit of the standings? Let's just briefly talk about that. 76ers still lead the way on the top of the East, 32-14 record, 8-2 in their last 10. Brooklyn, we've talked about, their second. Milwaukee sits third. The Knicks are fourth, which is super surprising to most people. Only 24-22, but fourth in the conference, 3 wins in a row. Really good at home, 14-8 on the year. You shocked that the Knicks have been able to pull it together like this?
Of course I am. It's the Knicks. They're not supposed to be good. The Knicks. No. So, but you know what though? I'm impressed because there's been one person on the Knicks that has taken their game to the next level, and that's Julian Randle. And because of him, because of his emergence, that's why the Knicks are doing what they're doing right now. And they've actually drafted pretty good too. So
yeah. So then we've got 5th place Hornets. I just mentioned them. They took a loss today, but they've been really good lately. 6th place is the Hawks, and they have been fantastic lately, 8-2 in their last 10. Celtics, 500 team. I don't know, lots of troubles there. 4-6 in their last 10. 7th place, and then the Heat are 8th, Pacers are 9th, and the Bulls are in 10th, and the Raptors are a game and a half behind the Bulls in 11th place. So they need to win some games down the stretch. Leading the West still has Utah out in front. They've won 5 in a row, 7-3 in their last 10, 19-2 at home, almost virtually unbeatable. Phoenix is sitting second, won 7 out of their last 10, 2 in a row. Clippers are third, 1 game back of the Suns, 5-game winning streak, and looking pretty darn great. Big pickup Rondo for them. Lou Williams is a great scorer, but playoff Rondo, he really steps up. He's got a few rings, and I think it was a smart move for the Clippers to get him in the trade deadline.
Yeah, It was, because another thing that Rondo does is he's good in the locker room and he holds people accountable. Because like there's only one other guy in that locker room that could be like, well, maybe you're speaking out of turn. That's the other guy that's won 2 rings, right? And that's Kawhi Leonard. That's it. That's the only other guy, and he's not going to say that. So I think he's actually going to make that locker room better. And then also too, when it comes to playoffs, well, that guy can play in the playoffs. It can depend on him. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say Lou Williams' playoff performance has never been that good. Like, it just hasn't been that good. But Rondo's is unquestioned. His playoff performance is unquestioned. So, yeah, I think it's better. The Clippers are better for it. And at least for Lou Williams, he gets to have more of his lemon pepper wings, since he's back in Magic City, Atlanta.
Good point. Good point. Yeah. That happened in the bubble there. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Lakers have slipped to 4th. Like I mentioned, they're only 5-5 in their last 10. Denver's 5th. So yeah, so far it's setting up that great battle. They had an amazing battle in the bubble. Trailblazers are 6th, 2 in a row wins. Yeah, big pickup, Norm Powell. He's going to be a big asset for them. Spurs have slipped to 7th, but still relevant. Dallas is sitting 8th. Memphis is 9th. Warriors are in 10th, still holding on, but they've lost 4 in a row and only 3-7 in the last 10. Terrible, really, on the road this year, 9-15. And then we've got the Kings. Pelicans are probably the only 2 teams that have that shot at the top 10. So yeah, the NBA finally had their trade deadline. The rich got richer, as we say, and we'll see how it plays out in this second half. There's some teams that have to make up some games. We'll see how we figure it out. But yeah, I can't wait for the playoffs. I wish they could just begin right now, because there are some amazingly tough teams at the top of both conferences.
Yeah, like I can't wait for the playoffs too. I think it's going to be really tough games. And then also too, with the weirdness of COVID and then how that affects teams, like that's just another obstacle that every team will have to deal with going forward, right? Because I think when the playoffs start, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be in a bubble. They're going to be traveling, so this is going to be a thing. So, but yeah, man, I'm the one team that I'm just going to say that I'm very excited. I want to see what they could do in the playoffs is the Phoenix Suns. I'm actually very excited to see how they do in the playoffs. With Chris Paul leading the charge, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm just excited.
Well, they were just so fun to watch last year, 8-0 in the bubble, and you're just thinking, oh man, this is a great team. And then they get Chris Paul, so wow, that just stepped them up into one of the top teams in that conference, and fun to watch. I always was a fan. Steve Nash being there, Charles Barkley being there, I always was a fan. I got to see games live there. I loved it, and yeah, it's nice to see them relevant and top of the conference again.
Yeah, and also too, it's nice to see that the 9 seconds or less offense that they developed then is kind of how we play the game now, except a little bit faster than that. It's actually a lot faster than that. And that we have shooters like Dan Marley that will just throw up 7 or 8 shots. And now that's considered on the low end for threes. Like it's just like, he hardly shot. Why didn't he shoot more?
That's hilarious. Yeah, how the game has evolved. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to evolve more, but yeah, this is the league we've got now, and it can be pretty exciting. Teams coming back from 15, 20 points happens regularly now in the NBA, and yeah, no lead seems safe anymore.
No lead is safe anymore, especially with the way that these guys can now shoot 3, especially, well, the step back 3, I guess you could say now. That's just the move. It's the thing. And just the accuracy on their shots is just a skill level completely on a different level for the NBA right now. I think that most of the guys, just their skill level is just, it's really impressive to see, and it's great basketball to watch.
Okay, why don't we just finish with a little bit of the NBA, NFL talk. We finished with the NBA. There was some trades made this week as the guys started jockeying for position for the draft. There was deals made between the 49ers, the Dolphins, and the Eagles trying to move up in the draft. It looks like they want to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo in San Fran to get a new quarterback in there. They wanted to move up high so they could pick one of the quarterbacks. I think they're going to be drafting 3rd overall now. Dolphins are looking for some weapons for Tai Tuivasa. They don't need a quarterback. And the Eagles also were trying to get some draft picks and get some weapons to help with Jalen Hurts now. And yeah, so that was the big news of the week. These teams starting to figure out what they're going to do in the draft.
Well, yeah, because the draft is an important part for any NFL team, and especially if you feel that we're deficient here or we need to make a change there, the best way to do that is go through the draft, or I should say, probably the most cost-effective way to do that is to go through the draft, right? So, I'm not surprised to hear that the 49ers are looking for a quarterback. Like Garoppolo has had spots, but just not enough spots where he's been consistently good enough to lead that team. And so I think that's why they're looking for a new quarterback.
And the news that came out today, that's a little bit surprising. The NFL is pretty much guaranteeing that there will be a 17-game schedule for 2021.
Wow. Okay. All right. So where are the extra games going to be added? Do you know in the schedule?
Yeah.
The 7th? Yeah, I guess they might add another one on Sunday or something like that. But either way, that's a lot of games now, man. Ooh, that is tough on the body for those guys.
So I don't think I have the NFL record book sitting behind me, but you can pretty much take it now and just tear it up because many of these records will be broken with an extra whole game on such a small schedule. I don't know if I like this. I don't know. Maybe they will make the preseason a little shorter. Maybe they will. I don't know where they're going to have it because they like always having that Super Bowl first week of February. I don't know where they're going to fit that in, but I'm amazed that they're going to be just jamming this down everybody's throat and making everybody accept it, throwing records out out the door and changing it. 17 games is such an awkward number. Yeah, kind of bizarre to me.
It's a little. It is. It's bizarre. It's weird. But you know what it is always at the end of the day, more money. Like, so it's about money, man. So, and I look at that. I look at the fact that you're extending the schedule, and maybe you're not even taking away any of the preseason games. They have to be honest with you, they'd have to do that. The amount of injuries that they're gonna have now to deal with, every team, it's gonna go up. It might go up a great deal. So that's going to be interesting once they hit playoffs, because it might now be a race to see just who's healthiest and who can win.
There was some big news about some huge contracts that they've signed and huge more money coming into the coffers for the NFL. And as we said, it's pretty much the only North American sport that could survive with 0 fans coming in. Most teams, I think this year, 2021, will be allowing some fans in the stands, and if not all, once they get vaccinated. But yeah, they seem to have come out of this pandemic smelling like roses and being able to go on and wanting more money. So I guess the Patriots were the team that really shocked me the most. They spent $160 million in 9 days to overhaul their roster completely. They handed out contracts to Cam Newton, 2 tight ends, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, Donovan Godchow, Matthew Judon, Jalen Mills, Dietrich Wise, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, all signed deals. They have 2 to 4 year deals. Amazing amount of money given out, and they are not going to accept missing the playoffs this year. The Bucks did incredible things, but the Patriots really shocked me with how much they decided to go out and spend and overhaul their entire roster.
Well, hey, It's Bill Belichick. It's the hoodie. I didn't like how it went down last time. I'm gonna make this better. I'm gonna right the ship because at the end of the day, he's a winner, and he's probably more of a competitor than any of us could ever imagine. Because when you see the guy that was your guy for so long, and then he leaves, and he goes to another team, and wins a Super Bowl immediately, it's got to eat at you a little bit, just a little bit. Got to eat at you.
I think it did. I think he was very angry, and he's not taking it anymore. So I'm blown away. I want to see if I can pull up the deal. So the NFL finalized a new 11-year media rights deal. Amazon gets exclusive Thursday night rights. The agreement runs through 2033 and will feature Super Bowls returning to ABC. Amazon's paying $1 billion per year for their deal. Viacom, CBS, Fox, and Comcast are paying more than $2 billion per year each for their packages. And Disney, which owns ESPN and ABC, will pay $2.7 billion annually for the deal. So the deal in its 11-year media rights agreement it could be worth over $100 billion in the end by the time it's paid. Man, as we said in the NBA, the rich get richer. NFL, if you own an NFL team, open up a new bank account because it's going to get full.
Well, the NFL has proven once again that we're top dogs in the sporting industry. We make money. And that's all we do. That's all we've ever done is make money. Like that just cements it for me. 100 bill? Like, what are we talking about here? $100 billion? You kidding me? That's a wealth of riches beyond a wealth of riches. Like there should, if you're talking about that much money, there should actually be no complaints with players about how much they get paid. I'm sorry. It seems like there's a lot of money there.
A lot of money there, yeah. Somehow we got to figure out how to get involved in the NFL. Just get a small percentage of this. You mentioned off the top about the UFC and the money that they could make. The UFC is actually trying to make a deal right now where they can get 100% of the company. The company that bought the UFC a few years back. I believe they're called Endeavor. Let me just check. I'm going to check, but they want to get 100% of the company, and then they want to do an initial public offering. They want to go on the stock exchange, and they want to try to sell stocks in the company. And they're thinking it's going to be about $25 to $35 per share. And I think you and I, we should own a part of the UFC. I think we should buy some shares and have a bit of a say in the ownership of the UFC. I really think that I'm serious about this. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to buy some stocks, and I think you should throw some money in too, and we can talk like owners. We're going to be owners of a little piece of the UFC.
Yeah, it's very, very little piece. Unless you're talking like we get 10% of the company. Like if you just go for it.
Let's mortgage everything. Let's just have 10% of this company.
But no, that would be pretty cool, man. And if they go through it, I understand why they're doing it because they spend a lot of money on this company, and I think they still owe the banks money. Like I think they're still paying the money. So yeah, this is a smart move on their part. Like they should have it publicly traded so that they can recoup some of that as quickly as possible. And it's cool for us because we could be owners. We could be owners kind of like the Green Bay Packers fans are owners for their team. Same thing.
Yeah, they're called Endeavor. Supposedly the UFC has been one of the few companies that have made money for them in the last few years, especially with this pandemic. A lot of their A lot of their companies have really not done well in the last little while. They want to buy. They own 50.1% of the UFC, and they want to buy out the other 49.9% of the company, and then they want to set the stage for IPO and try to take it public. Yeah, I don't know. When I started hearing this the last couple of days, I think the report started coming out on Friday. Yeah, I started getting excited. I'm in to talk to my broker and get him to get me some stock. I want to be able to have UFC everywhere around me, and yeah, own it and be able to call up Uncle Dana and tell him the things that we got to do with this company, the direction, and I think it's gonna be fun.
I think it'd be great because like I needed his phone number on speed dial anyways. I need Uncle Dana and be like, hey, what are you doing, Dana? What are you doing? Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Like now, actually, for instance, on why'd you do that? Like, why did you make the Oliveira Chandler fight? Why'd you do that, Dana? Well, then I actually got my answer. I looked it up the other day. It's because Poirier asked for the McGregor rematch.
Right. He opted out supposedly. Yeah.
So you know what that actually told me? What more than anything, what that actually told me? It told me for a man that has chased his whole life to be a champion, but when it really comes right down to it, the money speaks more than the title, because the money means that he cements more. He makes sure that his family's good, and it's a for sure bag of money that you're going to get, as opposed to when you get the title and then yes, you get paid more. But this is a sure shot, one shot deal for a lot of dough, and I get it.
Yeah. Well, Poirier, he's a smart guy, and I know that he knows that a McGregor fight moves the needle more than any other competitor in that division. Has the potential to get 1 million pay-per-view buys and get him a piece of the action, which can set him up. He might be able to have one fight and that's it, retire and have tons of money for his kids and his grandkids and his extended family and set himself up. So I don't begrudge guys when they're doing that. A belt is nice to have. It's nice and shiny, and be able to say I'm the baddest guy on the planet right now. But money talks, especially when you start thinking that your career might be coming to an end.
Oh yeah, exactly. Money talks, and then also too, he already knows this. Okay, so he has that rematch with McGregor. Down the line, eventually he will get a chance at the belt, and he knows that too as well. So as long as he has that confidence in himself and everything else, but he knows that this trilogy fight with McGregor, you can't pass this up. You can't pass up this opportunity. I was just happy to hear that yes, he was approached first for the opportunity. Like to me, if that wasn't actually a thing. So.
Yeah, when I first mentioned it to you, both of us were in shock and thinking, "Oh my God, I can't believe they passed him over." But you're right. I'm glad you brought it up because, he was offered it and he's supposedly turned it down and said, "No, I want the big money fight with Conor." So we'll make that work. So yeah, so the UFC wasn't being as they weren't being crappy as we thought they were in the early stages there. So.
Yes, yeah, I thought they would be a little bit underhanded. Maybe he spoke up like a certain Jon Jones said, "I want money. I want a lot of it. Give me money." Like, no, it had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. But at the same time, I'm sorry, but that's what Jon Jones. That's what he sounds like right now. He sounds like a child saying, "I want more money. Give it to me. Give it to me. I have earned this." Like, no, of course you've earned it. It's just the fact that maybe they won't want to give it to you.
Yeah, we'll see in the coming weeks so it happens, but I sure hope to make that fight happen. And in Africa, come on, make it happen in Africa. It could be the biggest thing we've ever seen in history. So exciting weekend, lots of great sports, lots of interesting things coming out in the world of sports, in the world of business. There's money, there's fun, there's been great action on the field, on the court, everywhere. So in the cage, hey man, as usual, one of the greatest hour and a half of my week. Always so much fun. I'm glad we could get this done on Sunday night. Unusual. Hope you have fun on Monday with your buddy coming in. And thanks again, man. It was a pleasure as always.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for doing the audible for me for this Sunday. Much appreciated, my friend. And fun as always. Look forward to next week.
Enjoy your week off. Any word if you're going back to work soon, or are you staying off for a little while?
Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable. So,
Nice.
but I'll probably look for something next week, but like nearing the end of next week. No,
Okay.
I'll figure something out.
Cool, man. Good to hear. Okay, buddy. Well, again, appreciate it. Have a great week. I'm sure we'll keep in touch, and yeah, take care of yourself.
All right, you too, man. Sleep well.
Thanks. Bye for now. Cheers. Okay. We come to another end of an episode. Appreciate you tuning in, watching, listening, being there for us, supporting us as always. Really, really appreciate it. Want to give a shout out to my niece and nephew, Evelyn and Lee. I hope you're able to watch and listen to some of these lately. Thinking about you guys as always. Love you lots. Yeah, let's have a great week ahead, everybody. Take care of yourself. Love you lots. Please support our partners and sponsors, and tell your friends and family about our podcast, and let's keep it going. Thank you, Jason. Thank you to everyone that's a part of this. And yeah, love you lots. Bye for now. Take care.